Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you now something the likes of which you've never seen before. The most dangerous combination of professional sports. The skill, the strength, the stamina, and the ability of two men blended together as one. The most exciting combination in the history of professional wrestling. Twin sons of different mothers.
Chris Adams and Mike Currents.
Let's body slam the competition.
And welcome back to Body Slam the Competition, everybody. The world is going to pieces, Mike. The world is just going to pieces. We have protesters in the streets. We have riots in the streets. And for like the third week in a row, Chuck is on time. Chuck, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being here, Chuck. You're the man.
I only aspire to be you, Mike. Chris is just my
See,
ass,
Mike?
not like it.
See, Mike? See, he looks up to you, literally.
Hey, it's hard being so high up on a pedestal that all the common people like Chuck walk around every day looking at me like I'm the Colossus of Rhodes. It's humbling, but also an ego booster at the same time. It's an oxymoron, if you will.
So how did y'all's week go? I mean, we had a pretty good week of wrestling, I think, that went by here. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it at least was not as bad as the week before.
So I want to ask you guys a question. Well, while it's fresh on my mind here, because I've seen so many of the marks out there talking about how it's the worst kept secret of all time, man, and everybody knew what was going on. On SmackDown, when they had the cage match for the women's title at the end, and the luchador was unmasked as Mickie James. Honestly, did either one of you think it was Mickie James for sure? Or did you just think maybe it was more like they were trying to move Eva Marie back into the plot line again, like they were talking about?
No, I had no idea, although, how many wrestlers are as kind of short as she is, or as, whatever. No, I really didn't. And then once it happened, I was like, okay. Like, it really didn't affect me, and I guarantee you, anybody that's that wasn't watching TV, very few people knew that was Mickie James, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think... I mean, I know who she is. Well, you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't... It was like, oh, who? Like, I don't know. That's just how I think.
I mean, if you go back and look at it, I mean, the timing of this luchador showing up and Mickie James showing up at NXT to fight Asuka, and after that, I mean, I guess the timing was there, and they talked about her coming back anyway, but we all thought, well, let me rephrase that. I thought, and I'm sure some other people out there may have thought as well, that she was coming to NXT for a little bit to help put some of the young women over there and everything, not coming to the main roster exactly. But then she shows up as the main roster as being unmasked as a luchadora, helping out Alexa Bliss. So I don't know if they had plans to, start a big deal between her and Becky Lynch or something, or what the deal is. But she's not definitely having a title run if that's the case, unless, Becky Lynch gets the title back.
I just think they needed to enrich the women's roster. That's what I think. I mean, think about it. For as many people as there are, or women that are on SmackDown, how many of them are true power players? And almost all of the women on, at least the big four, are on, or not big four, but you know what I mean. There's a lot more eyes on the Raw women's talent, and Becky Lynch is not going to hold it, and Alexa Bliss, I think, is too new to hold that. Although she's getting, I don't love her, but she's definitely getting better in the heel status. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about the situation.
I agree. Chuck, the thing about it is that, okay, the Raw women's division is like Velveeta shells and cheese. Mm-hmm. It's good just like it is. You don't really have to do anything extra to it. Then we move over to SmackDown, where the women's division there is sort of like, you know, the off-the-shelf, powdered, you know, Uncle Strowman's mac and cheese, the off-brand that gets a discount because it's made, you know, somewhere over in the South Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta add. You need to add some extra butter. You need to add some extra grated cheese into the mix to make it edible. Now, is Mickie James the extra butter? Probably not. So
but now, didn't you just 2 weeks ago, Mike? Didn't you just say 2 weeks ago that SmackDown's women's division was better than the Raw's women's division?
How can the SmackDown women's division be better than the Raw's women's division when the absolute best women's wrestler in WWE is on Raw?
It just seemed like I remembered you saying that SmackDown for the women's division was running overall the women's division, not one person, but overall I thought you said you thought they were better off right now than Raw was because they were getting tired of the same old thing each week with Sasha Banks and Charlotte.
Well, yes,
and,
the storyline speaking, it is better. But talent speaking is not so much.
Okay.
But the reason is because you have Charlotte, who is right now, in my opinion, which everybody knows is just like the gospel. It's true. It's the way, and that's how it is. She is the number one women's talent in the WWE right now. It probably will be for the foreseeable future. And she has pretty much no competition. So they just keep rehashing and regurgitating the same crap with her every week because they don't know what else to do, as to where you have over here everybody who's just about equally as bad as each other. So you can do a lot of different things with it because, hey, you know, who cares? It already sucks. But Mickie James, I don't know. I mean, Mickie James is a veteran. She has the star power, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, it's not like they brought Trish Stratus back. It's not like they brought Lita back.
Or even Ivory. I would have loved to see. Yeah, because those girls were legitimate wrestlers. Those girls, you know what I mean? And I give it to Trish Stratus because back then everybody crapped on her. Now, and we don't see it with the tinted colored glasses. It's wow, we didn't realize how good she was or how innovative. We only saw her as boobs and you know TNA.
Well, that's how they portrayed
and you know
her,
what?
though.
And you know what, Chuck? The thing about it is as Brian Christopher told our illustrious host, Chris Adams, Rikishi literally did shit on Trish Stratus.
The stink face. The only one real true stink face he delivered the whole time he was there, and it was to her. But she had a lot of backstage heat going on, though, now. A lot of backstage heat going on, they said, and was getting kind of full of herself. So he just kind of dished out a little bit to her, some of the stuff they said she was giving out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, you know, I'm sure, but I'm talking about in front of the fans and everything else. She gave 110% in the ring. You know, she didn't half-ass it for being just a pretty face. Let's face it, Lita was trained and fought all over the world. She was trained in AAA at whatchamacallit, in Mexico. So, and she went all over the world, which is what I think everybody should do. You know, unfortunately, there's not that many opportunities as much, but still.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, some of the greatest ladies wrestling matches that I saw growing up were Trish Stratus and Lita.
Oh, easily.
I mean, but it wasn't hard when you had people like Deborah McMichael and Sunny and Sable and you know, please don't beat me up, Brock Lesnar, but your wife was never really a wrestler. And if you get too angry at me, Brock, I will hit you in the stomach with a baseball bat. I know you got that diverticulitis.
And
bring
run.
it on, big boy. I'll chop you down like a redwood.
You know what? I'll run like nobody's business, Brock. You ain't catching me, Brock. I don't care how fast you are. You ain't catching me. Anyway, but getting back to the point, like, look, Mickey James may, because we haven't seen her. I mean, I really didn't see her against Asuka, but here's the thing. They need a veteran. They need somebody because they're not sound like Becky. I love Becky. I think she's good, but she also, who does she really have to work with that makes her look good? Except for Natty, and I love Natty too. Natty could wrestle her ass off, but the thing is, they need somebody who's been there. You know what I mean? And Mickey James has. Don't get me wrong. She was a knockout, and TNA knockouts were not. Even the shittiest wrestler there was really, really good, you know, or at least half decent. Or maybe like a Victoria or somebody. We'll see. I don't know. I think it needs Tuesday nights need work, and when it comes to women's division. So.
No, at the rate it goes for me now, I'm actually taking the SmackDown's roster of women over the Raw. I don't care if they do have Charlotte on Raw, and they got Sasha Banks, that's great. They got Bayley, that's great. They got Nia or Nia Jax, however you say her name, that's great. She's a big girl. She could probably take all of them all at the same time if she wanted to. But as far as overall talent and the way the stories are going all together, I think SmackDown's roster of women is just deeper than what, as far as what we would want to watch, as far as you would see on Raw. Because the only thing we want to see on Raw is who Charlotte's facing next. Let's face it. That's all we want to see. I could care less about Nia Jax and Sasha Banks fighting each other right now. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't do anything for me at all.
It doesn't do anything for anybody. I mean, honestly, and I know somebody's going to give me some heat for this, but I don't care what the hell Nia Jax is doing because she doesn't wrestle. She stands in the ring and she looks pissed off and people bounce off of her because she's big. But she's not big the same way Awesome Kong was big. She's not big the same way even Nicole Bass was big.
See, I was going to say at least she wasn't Nicholas Bass, but, you know, you kind of beat me to it.
Nicholas Bass. Oh, my God. Let's just move on. I don't even want to. Oh, she's freaking out. Anyway. No,
let's
but
definitely
like,
move on definitely for sure. Though we got some rumors out there. Have you guys seen some of this stuff that's just been thrown around the last week here? Honestly, I mean, now this might not be rumor right here. This is supposed to be true. They said Pentagon Jr. has left Lucha Underground. That he's no longer a part of the roster of the company there. And then, supposedly it says Pentagon Jr. and Mike, you tell me, is it Daga or Daga?
Daga.
D-A-G-A. Okay, Daga and Garza Jr. It says all leave AAA.
There's rumors of Prince Puma as well.
I don't know how much that weakens them as far as talent pool goes or anything, but those are some pretty
significant blow.
Those are pretty big names I've heard that's been there since the beginning. It seems like so. To hear them leave, and I wonder now. There's no rumor of their destination where they may end up going or anything, as far as what organization may land them. Haven't heard anything about WWE picking them up or them going to maybe to Impact or going to Japan and try something over there, whatever the case may be, or if they're just gonna take a break or stay somewhere down in Puerto Rico. Where there's a lot of stuff going on down there, like you mentioned a moment ago. So, and not to get too far away from the rumor section just yet, but did you guys see the I think it's called Table for Three, this thing WWE does.
Yes.
The most recent one was Ambrose, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens sitting down and eating dinner and just talking wrestling about their careers, where they started from, and being where they are now and all this stuff. And Ambrose was talking about how he got a call one day. It was from Bushwhacker Luke, I think it was. He's like, hey, mate, you want to come to Puerto Rico? You know, he said, I wasn't doing anything then. I was barely getting paid, $30 a day, driving 8 hours for $30 just to get in the ring and get my name out there more. He said, I was like, yeah, I'll go. It's a full-time job. What can you say no to? How can you say no to that? So he said he goes there, and pretty much everything he does today came from spending his time there in Puerto Rico and putting his time in, because the crowd there appreciates more the roughhouse style instead of the high-flying luchador stuff, which is funny because when you come over here, they love seeing the Rey Mysterios and the stuff doing the luchador type moves. So it's kind of the opposite of what you're getting each place. But he says his career today, the way it is, the way his character is based a lot on what he learned and what he did when he was there that he brought back with him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's weird. Ambrose's career is pretty crazy if you think about it. He did his stint in Mexico, he comes over to New Jersey and does the hardcore bit where, you know, people are sawing his head as John Moxley. You know what I mean? And then you see him in WWE, so I'm sure after all that, he's happy to be in WWE. He doesn't have to do half the shit that he's had to do, especially in CZW. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably...
If you guys get a chance to watch it, definitely check it out if you haven't seen it yet. It's a good piece. I mean, it was fun to listen to them just sitting there talking everyday stuff, you know, as the normal. Just as normal, not in character, but just normal stuff with each other, talking about their days back in CZW and talking about being in FCW before it became NXT and stuff like that. And Kevin Owens talking about coming in at just the perfect timing, it seemed like, when NXT was getting big, NXT was getting really good, and then got to go to the main roster pretty quick and all. I mean, it was just a really good, fun conversation to listen to on them.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those Table for Three, and they're really excellent. So I'll be watching that. But yeah, I just think that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm right here. I'm just listening.
No, but the thing is, I think that wrestlers need that though to go to different places. Like I think was it Pentagon Jr. And guys like that should go to Japan, because I think they'll get the. And I know I get the popular. Everybody just go to the E. I just think they're the guys that are the luchadors and everything else. Like people. It was special in the early 90s, or the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't think it's the same. You know what I mean? Like, I see Sin Cara or even Kalisto, especially Kalisto. I'm like, oh, look, it's Rey Mysterio Light or Rey Mysterio 2.0. I don't think they're appreciated like they were. I think in places like Japan loves that shit. You know what I mean? Like, and the Pentagon Jr. is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, the problem is that he likes to take things and water them down because they think, and dumb them down because they think that the crowd can't handle it. They think the WWE universe can't comprehend that kind of.
Well, they want to pander to a certain demographic of people anymore. That's what see what happened was they're no longer in a ratings war, so they don't have to be on the edge. They don't have to have that bite that they had. And I know a lot of people go back and they say the Attitude Era was so great. The Attitude Era wasn't, in my opinion, it was a good era, but it wasn't the best era in recent history. And by recent history, I mean post 1990. Mm-hmm. Because all it was a ratings war. They were just pushing the envelope further and further and further to try to beat WCW in the ratings. It wasn't really about wrestling. Now, the Ruthless Aggression Era, on the other hand, they had won. WCW was dead. When they started that Ruthless Aggression Era, man, that was smash mouth wrestling. It was... that's when you had a lot of the really good hardcore tables, ladders, and chairs. But then, and then they were still riding high on those ratings, man. People were digging it. People were eating it up. And then Chris Benoit happened. And then CTE happened. And all of a sudden now we've got rainbows, unicorns, cotton candy, and fluff. Because they're afraid.
Well,
no blood on TV, no blood in payper-views,
no
bloodless cage match.
No blood, chair shots, no...
Exactly,
no
but you have to
real high risk, and that's what the lucha style really thrives off of is that high risk, diving over the top rope, jumping off of God knows what, down onto the poor unsuspecting bastard below you. And the WWE goes, we can't do that. Oh no, you can do a flip and a Hurricane Rana. That's the lucha style in WWE. Well, good Lord Littlebrook could have done that in freaking WrestleMania 3.
Well, you have to understand though that they're a nationally traded company. That's another reason why, because the people that are investing in them also don't want that. Like, it's a new era, and I don't agree with it. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, it's not Hell in a Cell anymore. It's Heck in a Cell, because there's no way in back in the day you weren't bleeding. Well, magically, these wrestlers are superheroes because they don't bleed. It just lost its magic in a lot of ways. It's really lost its appeal, its magic. And you're right, the Attitude Era, and I was talking about that today with a friend, because he doesn't watch wrestling anymore, but he got the WWE Network. He's watching the old school stuff he used to watch, and he was like, wow, remember this and this, and I was like, yo, for all of the Stone Colds, for all of the Rocks, for all of the Jerichos, DX, you had, giving birth to a hand, and cross-dressing, what's his name, Gold Dust, and a slew of other crap. So, yes, you're right, it was a good era. Yeah, exactly.
Choppy pee-pee.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, although I do love his finishing maneuver's name, not so much the finishing maneuver, the money shot. I always thought that was brilliant. But anyway, but the Ruthless Aggression era was that all wrestling on speed and just brutality, but not brutality for brutality's sake. It wasn't gratuitous to be gratuitous. That's just what it called for. You know what I mean? And I loved it. Like the Kurt Angle at his most. Kurt Angle is most dangerous. You know what I mean? Him against Benoit. Just that whole thing. It was crazy.
Some of the best matches were Angle and Lesnar. Because they were both just such beasts of men, and just really purely raw, talented wrestlers. I mean, in the truest sense, they were pure raw talent. Lesnar tried the shooting star press a couple of times and turned himself into a human lawn dart, but that's neither here nor there.
No, he had landed it though. In matches, I don't know if they were house shows, but it was always said that except for the lawn dart thing, he did do shooting star presses before and landed them. For whatever reason, that particular night, he decided that he wanted to do a nosedive.
Well, you know what? You can do 10,000 of them in the dark at a house show, and it won't matter if the one you do televised winds you up on your head looking like a pogo stick.
No shit. They still had to win that match. And you still had to win that match. It was so, way to screw that up.
But that's when that's when the realism was at its top. That's when it was absolutely, in recent history, that's when it was at its top. There was blood, there was chair shots, there was stuff flying, there was, it was a great time to be a wrestling fan until about 2007. And then most of us quit watching.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the greatest example I think of a wrestling match with brutality is Angle and Shane O'Mac. That match was incredible in its brutality, in its truth, in its they told a great story, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just think today's product isn't special. Even as we said, even like Michael Cole dialing it in. There's a lack of that. I mean, you're talking about JR and King, back what I mean? It was just right. It was just the planets aligned, and it doesn't get the credit it does because of around that time Benoit died. You know what I mean? So.
It's like the whole thing changed overnight. I mean, not literally, but it's the way it feels. It feels that because they did the Vince McMahon, death, and then they had that whole angle with the exploding limousine, and then that's the same time Benoit died.
The same exact time, yeah.
Yeah, and then Vince shows up the next night. Hey, it was all an angle. I'm okay. yada, 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 do the tribute show. Then all the details start emerging. Then all of a sudden Benoit never existed, and everything started changing.
Yeah, it was just a confusing time because after that was Umaga and Bobby Lashley, and then the Trump thing, hair versus hair match, and it just was a confusing time.
It's like they didn't know what direction they wanted to go.
They didn't.
Yeah.
I wholeheartly feel they were like a chicken with their head cut off. Isn't that when Linda really started getting into politics too, and she started that that bid for senatorship, and then that's when they started watching what they were doing on TV before they even became a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they had no one to compete against anymore, like you're saying. So WCW was gone at that point. Ring of Honor's no threat. TNA really wasn't a threat. So they had nothing to really push them to get to the next level of any way. And so they're running around looking, saying, hey, what should we do next? Or maybe we should try, Danny Lashley for this. So let's push Lashley like there's no tomorrow. Let's protect Lashley and push him, and he can go to the top. And I'm not taking anything away from Danny Lashley. I like Lashley. Or I'm sorry, Bobby Lashley, which is funny. I got a friend named Dan Lashley. If he hears this, he'll be laughing his tail off at me right now. But Bobby Lashley was a good wrestler. I mean, I like watching him. Even in TNA when he went there, I thought he had some good matches there, especially with Angle. So, I mean, they just didn't know what they wanted to do with what they had. And I don't know if they had any real true direction or the talent to take them to a different area where they wanted to be either, until they started moving some people around and changing things up again.
Which leads us to ask the question, gentlemen, have we seen the pinnacle of professional wrestling? Is it all downhill from here?
No, I think they're just restructuring. And it's taken a long time to restructure. And they're trying to, well, let me put it this way. They're dancing on a tightrope without a net. They're used to do that. So now they have to figure out a way to dance on that tightrope without falling. Again, the blood's been taken out. The cursing has been taken out, although they've been pushing the limit a little bit more. But still, the danger has been taken out. So they have to figure out how to balance getting the smarts to be happy and getting the general public to be happy. So
I can let almost all of that slide that has been taken out. But the one thing that really bothers me that is gone is the realism. You can take the danger out, fine. You can take the blood out, fine. But when you remove the realism from the equation, that's when I have a problem with it. That's why I think Lucha Underground has the better product all around. It isn't because that they still do chair shots. It isn't because that they still bleed on TV. It's because it still feels real. The realism is still there. Something that the WWE has been lacking in severely for a long time.
No, you're absolutely correct. It's one of those things where it's really weird. It's in a really weird place that I can't quite put my finger on. So you're absolutely right, Mike. If there is a way to get the realism back, though, first of all, you know what kills me is these moves that they're doing. They're no selling or not even no selling. Okay, a power bomb back in the day, you pin somebody, it'd be over. Everything's like false finishes, and that really bothers me. A super kick is like a pile driver is not considered, a finishing move. BTC, a finisher.
Stop kicking out at 2.
Yeah.
Every single move. Stop kicking out at 2.
Or pick one signature or one finisher.
For the love of God, get rid of the damn Superman punch.
But there's one thing I don't mind about the kick out at 2 bit, all right? When you got a big matchup between 2 big stars, if a guy kicks out at 2 once in the match, that's great. I have no problem with that. When you kick out at 2 4 times in one match from the same or similar, or from the man's finisher, or a lead-up move that goes to the finisher that's still devastating in a sense, and you're kicking out at 2 every single time, that's what really ruins it right there. I know it's great and it's exciting the first time you see it happen, like, oh, he was that close, he almost had him, or, yes, the guy kicked out, he didn't lose. But the next time around it happens, they need to stay down for the 3 count, because there's where more of your realism will start coming back at it. It'll feel more real to people who are watching at that point, not like it's something that's scripted, which we know it is, but I mean, it's not like watching Hawaii 5-0 where, Steve McGarrett always gets the bad guy. Now you're looking, this guy, he kicked at it 2 one time, but the next time they hit the move, the DDT or whatever their signature move is, they're down for the count, and that's it. Let it be that way.
Well, here's the thing, too. That was always left for WrestleMania. Always. The false finishes, and I didn't mind it because it built that up. But now, every Monday night, every Tuesday night, you're going for the improvements, and they're kicking out. And then they're getting up like they're fresh. And I hate that, too. I don't mean every time, but, dude, you just got your ass handed to you. Act like you got your ass handed to you. It used to drive me crazy with Cena, and drove me even more crazy with the biggest perpetrator of that is Randy Orton. You know what I mean? Like, it just act like you're hurt. And, it kind of makes you think, like, back in the day, let me put it this way, would a DDT from Jake Roberts work now because he knew he was the ultimate master of it, or would people kick out and just kick the crap out of him? You know what I mean? Like, this is what bothers me. There's a new Superman feel to it, and I used to love wrestling when I was young because I always thought this was the closest thing to superheroes. But I don't want my wrestlers to be superheroes. I don't. Even Brock Lesnar. Go ahead.
It's a lot easier to remember that you're supposed to be hurt when you got blood running down your face.
Exactly. How many times in the past when you've seen a really hard-hitting match, especially a cage match, there was always somebody, busted open. Flair would get busted open in the War Games match. Who was it that was it in the Dangerous Alliance versus, Sting, Koloff, Luger, Steamboat, and Dustin Rhodes? Was it Dustin Rhodes that was cut up so bad or bleeding so bad in that match that you just thought he was going to die at any moment, but he'd still come back fighting through it?
Ric Flair kept the American Red Cross in business during the 80s.
Yeah, no doubt.
Between him and Dusty Rhodes and Abdullah the Butcher, I mean, come on, it's constant flow of blood.
That's the joke. Was always like, you want to beat Dusty Rhodes, then put him in a first blood match. You know what I mean? Because 5 minutes in, he was gonna bleed. So but I don't know. And you're right. Like, I was even watching Snuka versus Morocco in the cage. Snuka got busted wide open. So did Morocco. You know what I mean? It was just. It's very weird and confusing. I mean, they should just stop doing cage matches and Hell in a Cell, and they should just go back to pillow fights. Exactly, and it's a shame. It's a shame where Shano's got to almost kill himself to relive a moment on Hell in a Cell that Foley and Undertaker did. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna do what Mick Foley did. Like, stop. Like, nobody. That was danger. That was realism. That guy almost died.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's why people love that match. And yeah, it's a shame that we love that kind of violence and everything, but we didn't ask them to do that. I still think that that's the most hardcore. Everybody's like, oh, this person doing this. No. The most hardcore thing was Mick Foley getting thrown. He didn't slide, he got thrown by The Undertaker off that cage, 16 feet, 20 feet, and he almost died. You know what I mean? Like he was just and there was no real myth. There was no myth. If you hear Undertaker and listen to Mick Foley in documentaries and stuff like that, they will tell you the dangers that they had They will tell you the realism and how he didn't remember after him climbing the cage and him getting dropped, and like he didn't remember the match. Like, that's scary, but that's also something you admire and love at the same time. That's it. That will not be duplicated at all, because you can't do that. You can't do that without almost killing yourself. So I think when you think Hell in a Cell, you think danger. There's no danger in Hell in a Cell. Unless Shane O'Mac is involved, apparently. But nobody's going to want to do that. And, you know, there's no danger. It was a high spot. And the match was okay, but everybody's going to remember that high spot. Whereas in the Foley Undertaker match, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened. So much drama. You can't, you know, and there was no drama between Mick Foley and Undertaker. It was just kind of ridiculous. It was a wasted match as far as I'm concerned.
But, and you know what? I'm just wondering, speaking of drama, and I don't mean to steer away from the conversation at hand and everything, but I know other shows are going to be talking about this, so I definitely want to bring it up on ours as well and get y'all's opinion on what this guy is trying to say. Of course, we know what all's been going on last few days. It's you know, the historical time. You've got a new president coming in, going through, you know, these different things happening, protests, you got riots, you got everything else going on. This guy writes an article, and the title of it is WWE's Women's Revolution of Fraud. Talking about, I guess, about how they're supposedly pushing the women's revolution, bringing women's matches more to light, I guess, making them main event, bringing them to the forefront and stuff like that. And the guy basically is, he's chastising Triple H and Stephanie. He's hitting them kind of hard here because neither one of them took to Twitter and made a reference to Women's March because of the Women's March thing they have going on right now. Neither one of them stepped up and put any kind of a Twitter message out, so the guy's having a field day with it. Now, John Cena, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Seth Rollins, Mick Foley, Summer Rae, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, a bunch of people stepped up and they put some stuff out, like a little statement, a little blanket statement, or some quick whatever they want to get out there to at least get their name in the mix, I guess. But they didn't. So he's trying to say basically that maybe they're not for the women's revolution in wrestling at all at this point, based upon that. Now, when other than obviously Donald Trump being at WrestleMania, was it WrestleMania? It was, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So when, other than Donald Trump being in WrestleMania, when, by the way, he wasn't even a political figure at that time, just a celebrity, when did they start crossing over politics and wrestling? They don't go together at all whatsoever. And the fact that two people didn't make any kind of a statement is not a knock against the business or a knock against how they're doing business. So to come out and bring this out, I mean, to me, it looks like it's just some guy with an agenda because he's unhappy with the way things are going, and he's trying to find someone to throw some mud at. And he's picked those two out in particular to throw mud, because the one thing that they did do, like Stephanie McMahon had one thing where she put on there, regardless of your politics, it was an honor to witness the peaceful transition of power as our 45th president was inaugurated. Then she put hashtag proud to be American. The guy says pretty safe and inoffensive, what you'd expect from a chief brand officer of a major business. Then John Cena puts, it's days like this that make me love this country so very much. Hashtag Women's March countrywide, sending a strong message with peaceful protests. So he's got that, and he used the tag, but apparently neither Triple H nor Stephanie cared enough, I guess he is saying, to make a statement. So are they required to make a statement? I mean, is there anything in wrestling that pertains to what really happened today that means they have to step up and be some kind of a role model or a figurehead to something like this? I just don't get why he even bothered putting this article out and why it's even getting so much attention.
Controversy.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about the real issue at hand. And that is Lee Greenwood's forehead. Have you seen that? That thing is out of control. I mean, he has a scallop. I mean, come on, Lee. Man,
look,
you
the
still
bigger
got
the forehead
singing.
gets, the better the song gets. You know, as the forehead gets further back,
man.
the notes, he can hold the notes longer. Hey, it's a great song on top of it. I mean, you know.
He ought to be able to hold those notes like all day long, because he got a forehead. You could land what is it, Marine One on that sucker.
You what? He could be, you know, he could double as a billboard.
Pretty much. I mean, oh man, I agree with you, Chuck. The biggest flaw in Triple H and Stephanie's thinking was that they didn't rent out a space to advertise the WWE Network on Lee Greenwood's forehead
for $9.99.
For $9.99.
And it would have fit. It would have fit.
But no, seriously, Chris, to answer your question is, you know, every time something like this happens, there's always someone out there that has something to say about it, and they want to get their moment in the sun, their moment in the light. So they picked out two people who are obviously politically conservative and are going to, you know, try to not get themselves in trouble, but yet not support something they don't believe in. So why not? You know, hey, let's put it out there because I know people are going to talk about it because the WWE's a big thing and wrestling's a big thing and it's going to get me some likes on Twitter or follows or whatever. Fuck you, Twitter.
It's false. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care what you put about WWE. It's false. It does not get you follows. Anyway.
I hate Twitter. I can't deal with it. I like to talk, and I don't need how many characters in order to, you know, why do I need? Oh my God!
Yeah, we know you, Chuck. I could not imagine you on Twitter. You would just die. You would have a coronary because you need at least 3 times as many characters to even complete one thought.
Exactly, and that's fine. You know what I mean? That's why I like Facebook. But and I think Facebook is better socially. There's a lot more ways to get things out. But anyway, the bottom line is that for me, I like what the women's, to a degree, what the women's movement was, and that's great. However, people should not have to say anything. There's people that agree with certain politics, but they decide, hey, I'm going to keep it to myself. That's exactly what Mike said about Stephanie and, you know, Triple H. Of course, they have, you know, they're usually people in big business are conservative, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the kind of person that is going to or try not to shit on somebody's personal political views. I will always, you know, I'm not always. Even this one, I didn't say anything. I was going to tonight. I was going to be like, you know what, this makes me sick and blah blah blah. I'm going to go to Facebook and say my piece. I wound up saying my piece as I'm driving around getting food, talking to myself about what I want to talk about. And then I kind of got it all out, and I'm like, I don't need to go to Facebook and say anything, because why? Like, there's so much. This particular situation where I live, like I always say, in the gray, is that there's so many things that are wrong and right with what's going on in this political climate right now that I don't even know where to begin. Number one, and number two, living in the gray is so hard because trying to explain myself, people are going to come at me, and I don't need that. I don't want to fight. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I understand when people try to do a blanket statement. There's nothing wrong with that, and nobody should put a gun to your head, whether it's liberal or Republican. And you know, yes, I lean left, and I know that there are people that put guns to your head as a liberal and conservative, but more liberal. Like, you know, you have to believe this, or you're, and that's what I don't like about that particular party, is because that's what they do. You know what I mean? But anyway, I don't want to get into this political rant.
Yeah. Boo, Chris. Boo on you for bringing this up. I think we all should.
I'm not trying to make it political per se.
I'm
not trying to bring the whole
do.
political part of it.
No, but you have to listen. What you have to, when you ask a question like that, you have to bring politics somehow, some way into the question.
Yeah.
It's not a blanketed thing, you know. That's all.
Politics is part of the question, but it's not the main topic of the question. The main topic is why should you be expected to make that kind of remark. I mean,
it's like them
saying right now. It's like saying LeBron James does not put out a Twitter message with a hashtag Women's March? Are they going to condemn him for it?
I think what the real question should be is, what does the Women's March in D.C. have to do with the Women's Revolution in professional wrestling, which is absolutely
because
positively
equality. They're saying the Women's March is because there's no equality. They're saying there's not equal stuff. And I'm not sure what they lost recently, but it's supposed to be about not being equality. So they're saying in women's wrestling that they're not getting the same equal exposures what the men are still. That's basically what it's hinting. That's what it's hinting toward. That's why they're saying, is Women's Revolution a fraud? Because Hunter and Stephanie did not take the time to put out a message how they support Women's March. So, or do they truly have the Women's Revolution in wrestling in their best interest, in their mind, to push that still like they claim they did? And although, if they look back at things and see in NXT, Triple H is the one that pushed the NXT women to the height that they were. And exposed it and made it so good, and then brought them up to the roster. I mean, so yes, they had the best intention for Women's Revolution in wrestling. For the person to come out and do something like that, I think is just stupid. And like you said, looking for 15 minutes of fame and getting their name mentioned. I'm not going to mention the person's name. I'm just going to say that the idiot on the internet that put the story out there, shouldn't have put something stupid like that in the first place. And the people that printed it for him, which I won't say their name either, and give them any kind of reference, is just as stupid for allowing it to be up there.
Well, let me answer the question for everybody. When's the last time we saw a bra and panties match? When's the last time we saw an evening gown match? When's the last time we saw any sort of, degrading act where Vince McMahon's got Trish Stratus in his office on all fours barking like a dog? So there you go. So shove it up your asses, and let's get back to talking about wrestling because, I've had my fill of politics this week, and I'm sure that it's going to be more to come. Dog shit on the internet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I will say this, and I'll leave it alone. It's not only 15 minutes of fame, it's a political agenda. And it doesn't matter. For me, living in the gray, it doesn't matter. Propaganda is propaganda. And it's sickening. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why it's just sickening. My thing is leave politics out of wrestling. And, McMahon learned the hard way. The McMahons learned the hard way because I think one of the reasons why Linda lost is because she brought politics into wrestling. You know what I mean? And I think that was when Vince was like, he was like, he had to take a dump or something. He didn't have toilet paper, so he took the banner of Linda's opponent and like wrapped it around. You saw it as he's walking out to try to, you know what I mean? Like that was important.
You're absolutely right. And another thing is that I just don't feel she's a likable person. She doesn't have that air about her. And to be a successful politician, you have to have the air about you that at least a certain percentage of people find you at least likable.
Yeah, you have to have charisma.
Exactly. She lacks that.
And
So moving on past the whole political bit, like you guys said you wanted to.
Sorry.
I've been seeing some kicked around on the internet here in the last couple of days. I thought was interesting. We kind of talked about it last week a little bit, and no, I'm not saying they heard our show and they said they're going to copy what we say now and get it done, but there is some rumor kicked around that you might see The Miz win the Royal Rumble.
Well, why?
Remember we talked about him maybe needing to push for the title again, one more run. He's the biggest heel they got for the company right now, yada, yada, yada.
But who's going to push him again?
There's some rumor. It
is
depends on how it goes.
Styles?
It depends on how it goes. Because either way it goes, if you watch SmackDown with him and AJ kind of get into it and Cena antagonizing them both in the background, making them keep going.
Hilarious.
That was hilarious. What The Miz said about AJ's hairdo or his hairstyle, what he was doing in Japan, that completely cracked me up. While he was out being America's next top soccer mom or something like that, he said, I was here winning titles. I was here beating John Cena. Whether it goes Cena getting the belt at Royal Rumble, or whether it's AJ winning it and going to the WrestleMania with it, facing The Miz. There's a strong possibility of The Miz winning the Royal Rumble and taking on one of those two for the title at WrestleMania. Giving him a second push, possibly.
I heard another rumor with The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that he was supposed to have a match. They were gearing up a match with Daniel Bryan, and that's not going to happen. So the person that's going to step in is Shinsuke Nakamura.
Now that
would be Miz.
Yep.
I mean, they'll both be good. I mean, it'd be great to see Daniel Bryan get in there against him if he could get back in the ring. But I don't think medically he's cleared to get in the ring.
No, I think he can't do it, and that's what they're saying. They're saying he's out of that angle, so they're bringing in Nakamura. So who I think is definitely going to be bumped up to the main roster, and he's gonna be in the Rumble. I don't see any other way.
Oh. Scratch that whole Kenny Omega bit we talked about for the Rumble. He's actually, unless New Japan wants to release him and allow him to do it, he's actually under contract the day after the Rumble.
Yeah.
So unless they're gonna allow that, then it won't happen.
I'll tell you this: he's trolling people. He's trolling people. If people bring him like the number 30 or something like that for Royal Rumble, some kind of placard or whatever, he's signing them. He's such a troll, man. He's such a troll. It's so awesome. But yeah. But go ahead.
That's kind of wrong in a way, though, too. It's kind of like he's saying, I'm going to be in there, watch for me. Then he doesn't show up,
Yeah, but that's trolling. That's what I'm saying. But
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's wrong in a way, but it's still funny.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Well, that's his humor, too, like all of those guys.
But Jim Ross and Eric Bischoff are both saying right now they don't see him going anywhere other than WWE. They think they'll offer him more money than anybody else will, and he won't be able to turn it down. That you got to strike while it's hot. And JR told Bischoff, he said, look, he said you didn't go out and get Kevin Nash and Scott Hall a year or two after they left the WWE. He said you got them as soon as it was over with, when they were red hot still. That's when you went and got them. And that you succeeded with it. He said you got to strike when the iron's red hot. And right now, Kenny Omega's about as hot as he's going to get.
Mhm. Exactly. No, I agree.
But now my question to you guys is: if they bring Kenny Omega in, does he go to Raw or SmackDown? And regardless of which one he goes to, does he pair up with one of his former members of the Bullet Club, or does he go solo, separate?
He goes to Raw. If they bring him straight to the main roster, he goes to Raw, and he's hooking up with the Balor Club.
But would that be good though? It wouldn't be you can't make it the Balor Club, but see, because Finn Balor was the one. This is what I understand. I never saw the Bullet Club at that point in time, but when Finn Balor was in it, and you guys just correct me if I'm wrong, because I honestly don't know this. This was before I didn't really keep up with New Japan or anything, or even Ring of Honor much at the time. Was Finn Balor the so-called leader of the Bullet Club at that time? Was it actually called the Balor Club back then? Was he head of the group, or was he just part of the group?
He became head of the group.
It doesn't really matter, though, Chris, because it's the WWE, and they're going to do what the hell they want to anyway.
I don't know if you bring Omega in to be a part of the Balor Club, and you make it the Balor Club, I mean that's like trying to knock Omega a notch down from what he's coming in at, because he's been the one that's been ruling the Bullet Club for a while since they turned on Styles and beat him down and sent him packing, basically. So if you do that, you're kind of knocking him, a few steps back at that point from what he comes in at with his reputation. I don't know that you could do that though.
I doubt it, because the average WWE fan probably has no clue.
True.
Who knows?
True that. You know what I mean?
You got to realize the average WWE fan is a 10-year-old boy that wants to see John Cena, and their 44-year-old mom who wants to do John Cena.
True story.
Now the whole thing about back to going with the Miz again, if he wins WrestleMania, if he wins the Royal Rumble and goes on to face the winner at WrestleMania, whether it be Cena or AJ Styles, if Cena gets the win here at the Rumble next week, that's going to make him tie for Flair with 16, right?
No.
It's not?
He'll never be tied with Flair. He'll never be tied with Flair. He has 16 WWE championships.
Are you sure he's not 15-time right now?
Oh, he 15-time WWE championship, but he will never be a 16-time World Heavyweight champion.
Well,
and actually,
WWE
Flair's a 21-time.
the World Heavyweight Championship.
No, it's not.
For WWE, it is. It's
That
the World
doesn't
Heavyweight
matter.
Championship.
The only World Heavyweight Championship belongs to the NWA.
Well, see, now they could say that, but that's like saying going to back in the territory days. Every territory had their World Heavyweight Champion, basically. AWA had it in Rick Martel. Rick Martel went to Japan, defended his belt. Rick Martel went to other territories, defended his belt. Ric Flair did the same thing. WWE has a World Heavyweight title. Now, I don't know if they defended the title in Japan, but they don't. Hogan and Andre, people did go to Japan and make appearances and stuff. And I just don't know if they were defending the titles for sure or not there, but they were definitely making appearances. So Cena is a 15-time World Heavyweight Champion right now. If he wins against AJ, that makes him 16-time. He's just not necessarily now. If you take Flair's, some of the Flair's title reigns they said aren't recognized, and I don't know if it's because of what it was at the time or what, but they don't recognize him as World Heavyweight titles. That's why he's only a 16-time as far as official record goes.
You cannot compare John Cena to Ric Flair.
I'm not
can't.
comparing
I don't care
the
how
two.
many.
I'm not comparing them as
I
wrestlers.
don't care how many WWE championships that John Cena has won. It pales in comparison to what Ric Flair has done.
Now I'm more of a WCW NWA kind of guy. You know this already. But even I'm not going to put the blinders on and say that it's not a World Heavyweight title. WWE has over the years, their World Heavyweight Champion. NWA, WCW had their World Heavyweight Champion. AWA had their World Heavyweight Champion.
But Chris, it's not even the World Heavyweight Champion anymore. It's just the WWE Championship. They've got the Universal title now. It transcends the world. It's intergalactic, brother. It's universal.
Yeah, but listen to me. It's been unified. That's the only thing is the WWE Championship was the WWE Championship and the World Championship. That's why it's just, actually it was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And then they just cut it down. But it's considered a World Championship. So that's it.
So if you know what, I'm going to say, I'll tell you what, here's what we're doing, Mike, all right? Mike, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in a third party here other than Chuck, because Chuck's a part of the show. We're going to bring a third party in here and see what he says his opinion is. And on the line here we have Bustin' Dustin, it says. Now, Bustin' Dustin, thank you for calling in the show this week. We have a question for you, Bustin' Dustin. Is John Cena not a 15-time World Heavyweight Champion in the WWE?
Yes, he is.
If he wins against AJ Styles, will that make him a 16-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion?
Yes.
Nope.
So, if he has 16-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, does that make him also a 16-time champion like Ric Flair is a 16-time World Heavyweight Champion?
Yes.
Mike.
No. Let me tell you. John Cena is a 15-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. If he beats AJ Styles, he will be a 15-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion and a one-time WWE Heavyweight Champion.
That is all in your mind.
No, it's been unified.
Which makes it the only world championship now. It makes it the only championship.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes,
the
it
thing
is
about
a World Heavyweight Championship match. I mean,
the thing about it, okay, like, I know you are talking about how, okay, we used to have the World Heavyweight Championship and then the WWE Championship, but it's still, whenever they unified the titles, it formed together. It was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Those championships are still fully recognized in the shuffle. So he's overall and even if it's the WWE Championship or not, it's still a world title reign, regardless of what title it was.
Dustin, do you know what that makes you tonight? Do you know what that makes you? Awesome! That's right. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I thought you were going to put him on the list.
No, he's not on the list because he agreed with me. See, he made me look good, so he's awesome.
Okay.
Now, Mike,
on
the other hand,
You just made the list.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
Happen.
That's all I gotta say.
Well, I guess I'm on the list because I disagree with you too, but I've been on the list, so I don't give a shit. Anyway.
Hey, you got company now.
You just made the list.
There you go. How many it's been? It has to be 5 times already. What? Anyway.
Let's not start this week. Go ahead, Chuck.
No, the bottom line is, I'm sorry. He is if he wins, he will be a 16-time world heavyweight champion. It's just all semantics. To be quite honest. As far as I say it once, I say it again. It is a unified title, and that's it. You can argue it until the cows come home. It was unified by Randy Orton, they even said it, the WWE World Heavyweight, and they cut out the World Heavyweight Championship part, and that's that. But it's recognized as a World Heavyweight Championship belt.
So is Sasha Banks a Divas champion?
No.
Is she?
She's not
okay.
Divas champion. They dissolved that. No, they dissolved
No.
They dissolved the whole title. They dissolved that. The whole title.
The Divas title never had the title World Champion in it either. It never was the Divas World Champion. It was just the Divas title.
So they just
never said.
So when they gave it the new belt and gave it the new name, it became a new title.
Nope.
So
it was a different title to come out. It was the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Before, it was just a Divas title, because all they had was Divas. They didn't have wrestlers, they had Divas.
So now it's the Raw Women's Heavyweight Championship. So does that mean that the World Women's Heavyweight Champion, or the World's Women's Championship is no more?
No.
The better question would be, which one's recognized, the Raw or the SmackDown for the Women's Heavyweight Champion?
Well, no,
that'd be a better argument for you.
Well, none of them's the Women's Heavyweight Champion because Nia Jax doesn't have it yet.
Yeah, no, listen to me. It started out, if you go back, we talked about Lita and Trish Stratus, they had the Women's Heavyweight Championship belt, or the Women's belt.
Yeah, they had the Women's title, the same one that the Fabulous Moolah held.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. But that was like the WWF title. You know what I mean?
Well, she couldn't help it. She held it for like 52 years.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, you're right, but regardless, it started out, whether it's WWF, started out as a women's champion until the Divas Championship. So they dissolved it and went back to the World Heavyweight. So, I mean, all you did.
But they didn't go back to it because it's a new it's a new title, evidently.
It's a new title, but it's not. Okay, it's a new title belt, but it's not.
But it's a whole new title.
How is it a whole new title?
Because it's no longer the Women's Championship. It's now the Raw Women's Championship. See, that's the thing. You can say it's semantics until you say, well, it's not the Divas Championship anymore because that doesn't exist. Well, yeah, it exists. They didn't have a tournament to crown a whole new champion like they supposedly did for the Intercontinental title in Rio, which we all know was a work that never happened. But they just brought out a different belt and gave it to Charlotte and said, here you go. We're throwing this one away. You're now the women's champion again. But that's not the same women's championship that Trish Stratus held. Because you had an entire break of a whole other title, supposedly, that is unrelated to the current title. So if this title is unrelated to the current title, then the title before that was unrelated to it as well. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with this if they still had the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But they don't. It's just the WWE Championship. They split it into two and made a brand new title, that what Fred Peck called the 73 Buick Interior Championship. So just like we no longer have WWE World Tag Team titles. It's the WWE Raw Tag Team titles.
Okay,
They're
but here's the
different titles.
thing.
They're
No,
different
but here's the
championships.
thing. You're right, but here's the thing. You have the Universal titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Universal title.
Mm-hmm.
So does that replace? What I'm saying is, so then what exactly is recognized with
I don't know.
the
It's such
WWE
a convoluted. It's such a convoluted thing right now. I mean, are they claiming that this Universal Championship has the same pedigree as what was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship?
If I had to lay it out there, Mike, I would put it like this: they got all upset and everything on Raw, and I'm sure that's all how it's written out and everything. But all upset because the World Heavyweight title went to SmackDown with Dean Ambrose. They got that, so they had to do something to fill that void there to have their Raw champion, to have some of their big guys to go for. If I was putting it in any kind of a pecking order for belts, it's got to still be the WWE World Heavyweight title on the top, with the Universal title below that, with the United States title below that, and the Intercontinental title below that. It's got to go that route.
But
because that's how they go. The U.S. title is a stepping stone to the world title, or was. Now it's a stepping stone to the Universal title. And as far as the other one goes, if Dean Ambrose or AJ Styles was to lose it, let's say a Royal Rumble winner, we still haven't got any confirmation on this. If Chris Jericho wins the Royal Rumble, does he face whoever has that WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania, or does he get to pick between that and the Universal title because he's on the Raw instead of SmackDown? We have no confirmation of that yet still either.
I would suspect that they would do it the same way they've always done it during brand split, and that would be up to whoever won as to which title that they would want to go for. But I want to know if the WWE claims the Universal title has pedigree to the original NWA Championship. If so, that is the World Heavyweight. It has
no history. They had a tournament for the title, didn't they?
Do they make that claim? Because if they do, that is the World Heavyweight Championship. You can't have it in both titles. And if they're trying to do it in both titles, then they're both illegitimate.
I don't think there's any way you can claim that the other one, that the Universal title, has any kind of a pedigree.
I mean, look, I want to Google this shit.
You Google for a moment. You Google for a moment. We're going to bring Dustin on the show and let him get some words in here.
He's a rebel and he never ever does what he should.
Dustin, what you got for us this week?
Well, I was talking with Mike earlier today, and I was wanting to get your guys' comments on a rumor I heard that Conor McGregor could make an appearance and possibly be involved in a match sometime this year. What are your thoughts on that, and how true do you think that is?
It wouldn't be the first time someone like a Conor McGregor has stepped in. When you had Ronda Rousey come in, was it last year or the year before, made an appearance?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have a match, but she stepped in and hip tossed Triple H for good measure and put Stephanie in an armbar. I mean, who's to say that Conor McGregor couldn't show up? Because he's been talking trash. If you think about it, he's been talking some trash about what between wrestling and UFC. So building all that up and making an appearance would just be money for them. So, I mean, it could be very well happen. If it was going to happen, I would say WrestleMania, because that's where all the celebrities always show up, is WrestleMania. Chuck, what do you think?
Yeah. He'll show up. I think it'll be a controversy thing. Oh my gosh, excuse me. I think it's and who's going to bring more heat than him in UFC? So I think he'll do it. He'll do it for a paycheck and everything like that. I really think it's something he'll do. So I'll be surprised if he refuses.
And something else about Conor McGregor, since you brought him up, I saw online earlier that Manny Pacquiao has stepped up and said that if Floyd Mayweather will not fight Conor McGregor, that he would fight him. Now, are they talking a boxing match? Are they talking a UFC style match? What are they talking?
Boxing.
I would hope so,
Boxing.
because Manny Pacquiao is going to get his tail handed to him if he gets in the octagon.
Yeah.
So would Mayweather.
I'd say probably boxing, because there's no way. I did not see Manny Pacquiao holding up in a cage with Conor McGregor. It's just.
Oh, neither one of them could. I mean, they're both great boxers. Mayweather and Pacquiao both. But I mean, there's no way they'd survive in the octagon. Once they got an armbar or a leg lock thrown on them, it's
once they get
over.
once they get thrown down, once they get taken down, I would be more scared of Pacquiao than Mayweather anyway, because Mayweather's fast, but he's not known for his knockouts, and Pacquiao will put you on your ass. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a good idea.
Unfortunately, he didn't put Mayweather there, because that's who I was pulling for in that match, and that didn't happen none at all.
Well, because
Mayweather showed to be the better boxer, because he was able to stick and move a lot more and evade Pacquiao's hits and get a lot of quick jabs in on him and get the points victory, if anything. That was great boxing on his part. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but I was definitely pulling for Pacquiao.
Well, that's the thing. Stylistically, it wasn't a good match. And Pacquiao was on the decline. I mean, he got knocked out. Once he got knocked out, his stock went down a little bit. People still wanted to see a fight, but like he wasn't beaten. I think that if Mayweather didn't play his game and stood there and he would have got smacked, he would have been knocked out. But anyway, Conor McGregor wouldn't survive with the both of them, and he sure as heck he's going to get hurt if he goes against Pacquiao. I don't think he'll get anywhere near as hurt with Mayweather. He'll get stung a few times. Pacquiao will punch a hole in his face. I really think. And Pacquiao doesn't play. He's a let's go kind of guy. Like he's not a barbarian, but he's definitely more physical than Mayweather. So
yeah.
But I would
it definitely a possibility though.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Anything's possible. Although I think I would stand in there and get my ass kicked for the kind of money he'll get in a fight against Pacquiao or especially Mayweather.
Oh, now you know what? I want to bring something up this week we talked about last week, and Dustin was here with us then. Matter of fact, I think the last couple of weeks we've talked about this in a sense. Now, remember we talked about DDP and Rick Rude getting in the Hall of Fame we've been reading, but Kurt Angle was the first officially announced person going into the Hall of Fame. So now I've got to wonder at this point how true we were reading these things we read about Rick Rude and DDP, if it's legitimately going to happen or not. I was thinking these were WWE leaks, and one of those two would be the first one to come out there. But apparently neither one of them was mentioned first. It's Kurt Angle being talked about going in first.
Well, Chris, traditionally when they announce that first Hall of Fame inductee, usually it's the one that is going to be the big draw to get everybody excited for the Hall of Fame, to keep it building up. So it makes perfect sense that they would announce Kurt Angle first.
I mean, I can see it, and I don't have a problem with Kurt Angle going in, obviously. I mean, he's definitely a great wrestler. He's going to belong in there. The same old argument is always going to come up. I mean, does he belong there before so-and-so? But he is something that Vince McMahon and WWE made pretty big and popular, so he's going to go in, most likely ahead of some other people.
I will say this. I would usually agree with the statement that there are people that should go in before somebody like Kurt Angle, except for one fact, in that he's still alive, and he is the first, and to my knowledge, the only Olympic gold medalist wrestler to make the transition into professional wrestling. To bring that sort of legitimacy to the sport of professional wrestling, I think it is very deserved.
Oh, he's underrated, dude. And people say that, oh, no, he's not. I'm like, no. Compared to the other champions, I mean, think about how many championships he's won in the WWE. I don't think he got the tag team championships, but he's won like the European. I know didn't he win the Intercontinental at some point? Multi-time world champion. So my thing is, he's more than deserving of that. What bothers me is I kind of wish they didn't announce him and he would show up at the Royal Rumble, which I really think is going to happen. because people will lose their shit. You know what I mean? And I think it would have been even better if they didn't announce him, and then they announced him, like, the next night at Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin, are you still with us?
Yes.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
very quiet back there. I mean, I know you got some more stuff to throw at us, man. We get the whole Conor McGregor thing out of the way. What else you got for us this week?
Well,
It is open. It is open forum week. I mean, it's anything, everything goes except politics, because Mike will knock you out if you bring politics back up again. We already touched on that, and Mike was about ready to right hook us through the phone, I think. So avoid that by all means. But anything else, man, it's open forum.
Unless you want to make fun of Lee Greenwood's forehead, then we're all good for that.
Because Mike was all for that.
Okay. Well, I did want to make a comment though with Kerr. I think he is definitely well deserving, and I would say that he's the type of guy that would definitely headline a Hall of Fame class and draw a lot of money. And if you look back on his career, like Mike said, he was like the first and only, true Olympic gold medalist to make the transition and successfully do it. Like, within his first year, he held every title in the company. Every role that he had been put in that company, whether it was a heel, whether it was face, whether it was just a manager role, like whenever he was part-time GM, every role that he's been in, he did his job well. And he either made fans hate him, he made fans loved him, and he went and worked his ass off every night. So yeah, I definitely think this is well deserving. And I would agree. I think it would have been cool if they would have waited to announce it, but it is what it is.
You know what, guys? I really have a gut feeling that Kurt Angle may be the new GM of Raw.
I don't know.
That would be
Because
interesting.
Foley is
That'd be
leaving.
interesting.
We know Foley's leaving.
Yeah,
It's
thank
been
God.
reported. I think there's something wrong with Mick. I think that he is having some mental issues. Some things are showing through. Like forgetting the town that he's in. I don't think that was. It just didn't feel like a work. It seemed like he legitimately didn't know where he was.
Well, that would give more meaning to his Twitter remark of "I'm coming home" too. So
yeah, this push for his rapid weight loss. Because I know I've noticed it, and I know you guys have too, that Mick Foley has been melting away. I know he's got to have the hip surgery. He's having trouble getting around, but is this an effort for him to try to get healthy because he's having problems? Just kind of things that make you wonder. He's leaving the company. He seems to be having some problems remembering things, and now he seems to be going through this crash weight loss, trying to get. Because he's not getting in shape. He's just losing weight, and he's starting to look pretty sickly.
Oh, I thought it was all the DDP yoga he was doing. Come on. He's working out, man. He's getting in shape. He's buff. The fact he's forgetting stuff, well, he did get his head hit quite a few times. So
that's the big show. You want to talk about somebody getting buff.
Holy crap, he just melted all that, man. Whew. All that weight came off. His legs are skinny now. It's almost unnatural.
I was talking to Bustin' Dustin earlier today, and I had listened to I'm going to give a shameless plug here. I listened to a little bit of the Taz show where he was discussing, speaking with the Big Show, and then I was reading a few articles. The Big Show weighs under 400 pounds for the first time since 1995. Since his debut in WCW, he now is under the 400-pound mark.
Yeah.
He did this for himself to get into shape because, and this is from the article where he was quoted saying that he's been billed at 450 pounds for a long time. But in reality, he had gotten up to 537. And he was starting to have some health issues. You know, he's a big guy anyway. But he, unlike Andre, he had the surgery to correct his pituitary issues to stop the effects that ultimately led to Andre's death. So he no longer is continuing to grow in the extremities. So this is all for him. This is all for his health benefit, because this is supposed to be his last hurrah, his last WrestleMania, his last go around. But it kind of makes you wonder, if he gets into this, he's into the best shape of his life. What if he gets out there and he does the last thing he does?
You know, I have something to throw at you guys. Being in this open forum week and we're just tossing crap out there to talk about this week, it is wrestling related, I mean, but do you guys, well, let me start off with this. Guess who has a pretty successful wrestling podcast out there? Not quite as successful as, you know, good old JR and Stone Cold, and maybe even, might even put Chris Jericho or Taz in the mix, because they get a lot of people come on their shows and everything. But guess who is another one out there that has got a very successful podcast? Brother Love. When's the last time you guys remember hearing Brother Love?
Oh, wow.
Now, I say this. I
love you.
I say this because this is a part of my wrestling ignorance here. I had no earthly idea this guy was Brother Love back in the day. And there are some things that have been pointed out to me lately that I have missed on other TV shows, which I won't bring up because it's more of the nerdy thing, not a wrestling kind of thing. But Bruce Pritchard. I didn't realize Bruce Pritchard was Brother Love.
How did you not know that?
I never heard that before. I never heard that thrown out there before. And I'm sitting here looking on the internet right now as we're talking, checking out these different things that are out there in the rumor mill and stuff while it's going on. And it says Bruce Pritchard on if WWE was interested in Goldberg in the 90s and how Hulk Hogan and DX rumors and his TNA run and all this stuff. I'm like, well, there's a picture of Brother Love and Paul Bearer and The Undertaker. I'm like, why'd I get the picture of Brother Love up there for that Brother Love show? As I'm looking through here, he's talking about his time in the WWE as Brother Love. And I'm like, get out of here. That was Brother Love?
Yeah.
No way.
That was Brother Love.
Because when I hear the word Pritchard, all I think of is Dr. Tom. Dr. Tom Pritchard. You know, half of the Heavenly Bodies. Along with, what was it? Not Randy Rose. Maybe it was Randy Rose. I can't remember. Anyway, that's the only place I remember hearing the name Pritchard at. He was in Memphis for a while too, with some of the guys there with Eric Embry, doing a feud between Texas and Tennessee. But you know, I never heard Bruce Pritchard before, and I heard the name recently, and I thought it was some tie-in with Dr. Tom Pritchard, like it was his brother or something. I didn't know, and now I'm reading this crap here. I'm like, come on. And you know, you guys are looking it up right now too. Probably you're like, oh, we knew that. But you're looking it up right now, going, whoa, he is. Look at that.
No, I knew that.
Dustin especially, because he's laughing about it too much.
No, I knew that already. I thought
well,
everyone
excuse
knew
me,
that.
okay? Oh my gosh, all of you.
All right, Chris, now that you've showed your ignorance, let's move on.
Bruce Pritchard. It's Brother Love. Honestly.
Anyway. So, Chris, did you see
next thing you're going to tell me that Percy Pringle was Paul Bearer. And if you go that way, man, I'm just going to cry. Okay?
Percival Pringle III. But
anyway, yeah, you're right. Let's go ahead.
So, did you see the tag match on Raw where Anderson and Gallows got screwed out of winning the Raw Tag Team Championship?
Yes, I did. And I was like, man, they had it won, and they took it away from them. I was like, oh, come on, are you serious?
Is this the beginnings of a face turn? Because that's kind of like the face kind of deal.
I don't think so because they're playing off Cesaro and what's his name there, Mohawk, to be the Sheamus to be the quote unquote face tag team right now because of Cesaro.
But Sheamus did the classic heel maneuver.
I know, but it's like a mix. You got Cesaro that's supposed to be good. You got Sheamus that's supposed to be bad. Yet they're a tag team having to work together. You don't know which side of the fence they're on, basically. Then you got Anderson and Gallows, who's been bad the whole time they're there and don't have any. I don't see what they could benefit by making them baby faces.
It just
versus
seemed to me like
heels.
the crowd was more for Gallows and Anderson, though.
That's because the crowd's always behind the Bullet Club. The Bullet Club's a big popular deal in wrestling, and they're all about that. Just like they always cheered DX when they were, when they were bad or good. They cheered them
They cheered DX because they were. That was the point.
They cheered NWO. I mean, the Four Horsemen were cheered and loved throughout their years. They were the bad guy stable. I mean, it's like there's always going to be your fans of the bad guys. Anyway.
It would just depend, Ole did get stabbed by the fans a couple times. I mean, I don't know how much love there was for that man.
Oh, it's quite a few people got stabbed over the years, but that doesn't mean that they didn't have half the crowd in their favor because of what they were. Ole might have got booed, but, Flair and Anderson, they're always getting cheered, it seems like. Tully's getting cheers coming to the ring. DX, when they're the bad guys, the ultimate bad guys out there, they're getting cheers. Not as big cheers as Stone Cold was getting, but they're getting the cheers.
Well, you know what? Maybe it was just because these people were all really in reality facing Roman Reigns, because anybody who faces Roman Reigns gets cheered.
Roman Reigns, the guy who is speculated to be getting the Universal title real soon. That same Roman Reigns?
Oh, well, why wouldn't they give it to him? I mean, they give him everything else. They give him the push. They give him the title. They give him all this crap. But you know what? They still can't give him talent.
Look, Kevin. Look, you gotta make Roman look strong, okay? Make him look strong.
Well, that's the only thing they do is make him look strong, and then the people hate it.
That's how it is. There's always one in the crowd. Once again, as I always say, I've got no big time problem with Roman Reigns. I really don't. I just, I do like Kevin Owens as champion. To me, it's always more fun to watch wrestling when you got that big heel champion with the babyface chasing after him, and eventually getting the title and maybe holding it for a while, but not a long time. Then the heel takes it back, or another heel comes and claims it. It's always more fun to watch. The story builds up better. It's kind of like then, and this goes back to your topic from earlier too, when you talked about how things at one point in time they didn't know what they were doing, and have we reached the pinnacle of wrestling already? If you remember last year, about this time we had Ricky Morton on with us, and Ricky Morton said the business takes a change every 10 to 20 years, and it goes in a different direction every time. And it might be a good change or a bad change or whatever, but it goes that direction for a little while until they find something good again, and it's back on top. So you might be having a point right now to where I don't really think they're in a lull right now in any way. They got a lot of good talent up there, but it's not the attitude period. It's not the ruthless aggression period. Something like that. It's just something different than what it was. And
I think we've gotten through
they're really packed with a lot of talent. I know, and then they're packed with so many people who could be the world heavyweight champion, but they're not giving a lot of those people that opportunity, and that's probably one of the main reasons why people get so mad, because Roman being the only main one pushed. You're not hearing any talk of them bringing Finn Balor and putting him back with the belt for sure. You're not seeing Seth Rollins get the title back right now. There's a certain number of Jerichoholics out there that like to see Chris Jericho get it one more time. I think yourself included, Mike, said you'd love to see it one more time. There's people out there that want to see, Sami Zayn even have a shot at the title because he had NXT.
Who are these people? Who are these people?
He's got his following.
Who the hell are you talking about? Now quit making people up.
He has got his following out there.
Because nobody gives a damn about El Generico.
He has got his following. They cheer him like crazy when he comes out. He has got his following. And maybe if he was on SmackDown, it'd be more believable for him. But you can't believably have him in a world title race in Raw.
If there's anybody out there behind Sami Zayn, they're probably just members of the North American Ginger Association.
They have no choice.
Isn't Sheamus president of that?
Red Power. No, he's the president of the European division.
Oh, okay. My bad. But no, seriously, there are. If you just start reading around, look online, Google this stuff, read about it. There's people out there that really love Sami Zayn and behind him would like to see him
you know what,
get
Chris,
a title run.
If I wanted to lose brain cells, I'd go huff paint, not read about Sami Zayn.
Oh, you know what that means, don't you guys? That means secretly when we're not on the air, Mike is reading up on Sami Zayn all he can. He's in denial on the air with us right now, though.
Oh yeah. Well, if I go reading up on Sami Zayn when I come on back next week, this is how it's going to be. My name's Mike, and I've been reading on Sami Zayn. 4 plus 2 is
that's how
peanut
you talk
butter.
when you're from West Virginia. Come on, get off it.
Hey, Chris, you're just jealous because you're from Tennessee and my cousin's prettier than yours.
No, my cousin's prettier. My cousin's prettier than you. All right, my cousin's way prettier than your cousin. All right, that's all there is to it. And it's Tennessee. Say it right. It's Tennessee.
Oh, I'm sorry. You gotta say it like you're a big Tennessee
dumb
queen.
West Virginia. You dumb West Virginian hillbillies.
Oh, quiet down, you damn Al Gore wannabe.
Don't make a wrong turn. Don't make a wrong turn up there. You'll get eaten.
Watch out for Man Bear Pig, Mr. Climate
I saw
Change.
the movies.
Well, I told you.
Chuck, step in and help us out, man. We're getting out of control here. You've been
Chuck's
quiet too long.
Oh no, I'm here. Listen to me. First of all, my cousin is prettier because it's first removed. Okay, first removed.
Look, just because you get that Jersey Shore Snooki thing going on, don't mean anything. All right, we don't want to hear
I'm
that.
in South Jersey.
Chris, Chuck's talking about his male cousin Johnny.
Oh, that one. My bad.
Excuse me. He's from Eastern Europe. His name is Johan. Okay.
Did he take you backpacking one summer?
When I go there and I visit him, it's all about lederhosen. Now you don't want to know what lederhosen is, so.
Lederhosen in your back door, huh?
Well.
Did he take you up on Brokeback Alps?
Oh, quick, Dustin, jump in.
All right. Okay.
Oh my God, that's great.
Okay.
That's beautiful. What about Bruce Pritchard? Anyway, I'm
Chris didn't know that Brother Love was Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah, no, I heard that just before I had to step out for a second. And I was like, oh my God, I want to talk about this. But go ahead. How do you not know that? What's wrong with you?
Man, I'm serious. I never knew who Bruce Pritchard was to begin with. I didn't really like Brother Love to begin with anyway. I never got to the skit like that. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. My grandmother hated it in particular because I remember watching it in her house on Sunday mornings when WWE would come on, WWF would come on, and he would come out and she'd be like, "Oh, that's just pure and utter garbage. I don't see how you can watch that." And of course, then she turns around 15 minutes later, "Oh, that's just dirty. Look at how they do." You know, like she's not watching, right? But yeah, she hated the whole Brother Love thing, and I didn't really get it anyway. I didn't care for it too much. I thought it was kind of stupid. Piper's Pit, yes, liked it. I'd even rate the Barbershop over the Brother Love segment. I mean, that's how much I hated it.
Well, I loved it because that was his. He was supposed to be kind of over the top and a dick, and it was very popular back then to have evangelical, whatever.
I understand what he was making fun of for sure. That part I get. I mean, it's just that I've always hated the television evangelist stuff. And I've never liked that kind of thing. I don't believe in it. I don't like that people send them money. I hate that whole entire thing.
Brother Love didn't want your money. He just wanted your love.
Well, he got
and a lot of red,
like a lot of hate,
and a lot of red makeup.
Oh yes. Yeah. Looks like you've been in the tanning bed for too long.
Okay, I did have, so I've been reading also upon some rumors and stuff that WWE, I've been wondering for quite some time what direction they're going to go with AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I mean, obviously, we're going to have Cena Styles for the next, 2 months. But I've been reading that they're possibly, and for some reason, I hope they don't do it, but from what I hear, Vince is planning on Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. Now,
I think it depends on what direction the Royal Rumble goes. It depends on that, I think, on how the Rumble goes. If he loses the belt to Cena at the Rumble, I think you're pretty much guaranteed to see AJ Styles take on Shane.
Oh, why?
And to think about it, I sent you the message, Chuck, when it was happening. I said, man, I see it. This is the start of the build-up. This is the start of it. He's coming out there and complaining about having to be in the Elimination Chamber for the title. Now, he may make it past Royal Rumble with the title and go into the Elimination Chamber and lose it there.
Yeah,
and if he does, guarantee you, if he does, Dustin, that will spawn off to WrestleMania with Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles, because AJ Styles jumps him on Raw or SmackDown, rather, the next SmackDown for that match he put him in that he didn't want to be a part of, and he lost his title due to it. That will most likely happen.
Yeah,
if it goes that way.
Don't get me wrong. I always did love watching Shane McMahon. And, AJ Styles is simply phenomenal, no pun intended. But I'm tired of seeing, big star, big top heel face off against authority figure. It's so overdone. It's like, please, give us something that, put him against an actual superstar. Give him, a big WrestleMania match. I just don't want to see another authority heel figure wrestle. As much as I love Shane McMahon, it's been so overdone.
No,
I agree.
Here's the thing. Did we not just watch Shane McMahon barely survive, what was it, SummerSlam? Or was it Survivor Series?
Survivor Series,
right?
Survivor Series,
yeah. Didn't we just watch him barely survive that match? Even without getting speared and almost dying. He was ready. He didn't have the stamina. He better. And I just don't if it's going to be an authority figure, at least bring back Triple H, because he's a wrestler and he could still go. He's never had a bad outing since he's gone. He'll come back and have a great outing. He'll look fantastic. But you have somebody like Shane McMahon. Why? Like he said, look, there's a whole roster that AJ Styles also wrestles that haven't wrestled. So why the fuck would you put him in a match with Shane McMahon? It's just not going to be good. It's not going to be a good match. Shane has lost so many steps. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, but you know what? People are going to want to buy into it. They're going to want to see it. It's for the nostalgia. They're still going off of the nostalgia of bringing Shane O'Mac back, and that's what it is. They're trying to get that nostalgia money.
Yeah, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't think this is the way to do it.
This is the way to get that nostalgia money without bringing giant egos back into the mix. Because who else are you really going to get? Besides Angle, who's coming in for the Hall of Fame. Not that you could go back and watch old TNAs and see Styles versus Angle without. But
well, see,
who are you going to bring?
That's why I wanted Kenny Omega to come into SmackDown instead. I would love to see them two face off, because I didn't get to watch them much in Japan. I don't think a lot of people got to see that, because a lot of people don't watch New Japan. And to top it off, New Japan Wrestling right now that you get here may not be what's currently going on. You may see season. It's like Lucha Underground.
Like a year behind.
Oh yeah, or something like that. So we may now just be getting on television where AJ Styles is a part of the Bullet Club, real big, with Kenny Omega and Nakamura and all these other guys, and then maybe they're about to jump him or something. I don't know. But we never really get to watch the matches with them there. I would love to see Omega and Styles going at it for a while. But who would be the good guy? Who'd be the bad guy at that point? I mean, I don't know. I think they would probably make AJ turn face, and Omega's a better heel. So they would have to do something like that. But that'd be something good to see for Styles.
Are you kidding me? That would blow. It would easily be match of WrestleMania. I couldn't see any other match touching at all.
I can agree with that.
I could hear there's probably like going to be, this is awesome, holy shit, everything you can, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to do it. Well, Kenny's not. If he could, that would. Are you kidding me? They would be drooling. All of the fanboys wouldn't know what to do. You know what I mean? They would bust a nut in their fucking pants. It's the truth. And
It's going to be the way to go with it, at least.
The nut-busting truth, according to Chuck.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think it would be one of those Jimmy Snuka moments where people see that and they go, kids see that and go, I want to be a pro wrestler. From that match, I want to be a pro wrestler. Because you would see stuff. And they're letting, they're letting AJ be AJ. So let's face it, if they let them fight the way they did in Japan, it would be fucking bananas. If you just said, if I was Triple H or I was even Vince McMahon or whatever, I'd have somebody talk to Vince and say, just let them be them. Let them be them, dude. I'm telling you, you are gonna cry. You know what I mean? That's it. But.
Yeah. I was thinking about them too, because I've been hearing. Of course, I know you guys have a lot of rumors about Kenny Omega, and we've talked about that. Showing up at the Rumble, and I was thinking like how awesome it would be if they would have them two face off at WrestleMania, and if Vince didn't put a certain, WWE degree style on the match as far as limited moveset. If he would, obviously he's going to, but if he would do the same thing as he did with AJ, let AJ be AJ, simmer it down a little bit, but still let him be AJ Styles, that would be the match of this decade. That would define, I think that match would define the decade. It really would.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt.
I agree.
It would be honestly, it would be their version, because this is the truth. This match in particular, WrestleMania 3, Savage Steamboats, regardless of the outcome or whatever, that match defined wrestling in so many ways. And that was only a 15-minute match with a really dumb ending, but it was just
terrific match.
Yeah, but. That's what I'm saying, from start to not so much to finish. And that's how I feel. And there's rare matches that do that. The ladder match, you have Mick Foley, the Hell in a Cell with Mankind, Undertaker. You have the matches with the Hardy Boys and all the, like the table ladders and chairs matches were fucking, defined careers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I just, I don't think...
Right, you've got era-defining matches, career-defining matches, moments that lay out what wrestling really is throughout the years. And, we remember it. The Hogan heel turn is another thing that...
Oh, my God, I was just talking about that. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah,
yeah.
Everybody saw that coming. It was the birth of ECW. What a moment was that when Shane Douglas throws the NWA World Title down, spits on it, and says, "This is the title. This is the world title I need."
The night the line was crossed.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody. These are the things that people remember. Steamboat, Savage, WrestleMania 3, and I think one of those moments is going to be for this era. The Miz's rant on Talking Smack against Daniel Bryan. I think that's going to be something that people talk about in 10 or 15 years.
You know,
Yeah.
I think I can definitely agree with that. That moment right there, and I know we've talked about it before too. Like that moment, literally made you question how real, that was. Was that a shoot? Was it real? And then, but I think, okay, that moment right there, still to this day, I actually think about that moment. But do you think how memorable that moment was? Do you think it would be less memorable if they don't capitalize on 2017 with The Miz? Because if they have him do that, and he had a good ending to last year, but if he doesn't have a better year in 2017, what difference is that going to make?
No, you're absolutely correct. But I think the one thing of this generation, unfortunately, but the CM Punk work shoots, that was something that came out of left field, and I think people are going to talk about that. But yeah, they're definitely going to talk about the Miz, and you're absolutely right, because with CM Punk, he said he was quote unquote leaving, he was ready to leave, and then he got a title shot, and then he won the title. So he, that's going to make that more impactful. So yeah, they have to follow up. They have to.
Yeah, I agree. This is the time in the Miz's career to do it. He's 36 years old. If it doesn't happen for him now, it probably won't.
Yeah. And it's like, and like I said, if they do not capitalize and, give The Miz a bigger push this year, I think that moment right there, as great as it was, and, and as a sort of a changing moment as it was, I think is less memorable. It's like if you take Austin, his win at the 96 King of the Ring, and that promo he had, that promo was, hot. That was like the hottest thing right there at that time in the WWF. But if they don't capitalize and create, the Austin we know, then how memorable is it? How serious, how are you supposed to take that seriously?
Well, here's the thing on that, though. The fans made that. The fans made that happen.
Mm-hmm.
The fans came in with Austin 316. If they did, you're right. If they didn't follow through with that, it would have just been. I mean, maybe Austin would have come with another way because he's that talented. But let's face it, he had the world against him in a lot of ways, or at least the WWE. Frosting the trees or some shit like that they try to put on him. But here's the thing. There's a lot of things. Even The Rock, the fans made. That was the era that made them. Daniel Bryan had grassroots, and let's face it, the fans made him. If not, he'd still be an upstart.
But honestly, that's what. Even if The Miz doesn't excel, the fact that it involved Daniel Bryan will still make that event talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. But it's going to be followed up with, but they did nothing with it.
Right.
Did you guys see Did you guys see the little bit of a Twitter war that Ric Flair is having with the Carolina Panthers, or one of the guys from the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny, wasn't it? You didn't, Mike? Flair again this year has sent out what I'm going to call a pump you up kind of speech to a football team. This year it's the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes.
It was the San Francisco 49ers a few years ago.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Was you really? And then the 49ers, they got the he's in the Colts one year, I believe. The Carolina Panthers, I think, was last year, and this year it's the Falcons. And this guy, I think his name is Charles Johnson, I believe. This dude, Ric Flair, is the ultimate groupie. He goes, facts or no? That's # facts or no. Flair comes back and says, Charles, sorry I can't get back with you at the moment because I'm busy with the Falcons, who, if you didn't know, are in the playoffs. He woos at him. And then Charles Johnson comes back with a bunch of laughing faces like they're crying, saying, Panther Gang done got at him so much he had to respond. Sorry, buddy, you're still a groupie and a clown in a costume. Hashtag I was a Sting fan anyways. And I guess that's where it ended. I don't know if it went further than that. That's the only ones they got up here. I'm not gonna look for it on Twitter, but that's kind of some funny stuff right there.
Dustin and I were just talking about it during the massacre that they were calling a football game. I said, well, I guess you really shouldn't screw with the team that Ric Flair cuts a promo for.
I guess not.
Yeah.
Guess not. Maybe there's some magic in the Ric Flair promo that we know who to bet on the Super Bowl with then.
Woo!
Who?
Yes.
Who? Oh, hey guys, on a serious note, not really so serious.
How dare you?
March 14th, SmackDown Live will be in. Yours truly is going to try to make it to the show with his beautiful, lovely wife. Of course, Alexa Bliss will be in attendance, so my wife may try to kill her. But
hey, hold up. Now, what kind of seats would you get? Like, would you get seats close enough to the ring where we could have your wife hold up a sign about, say something bad about Alexa Bliss, while you hold up a sign that says "Body Slam the competition"?
Well, ideally, I would like to get some decent seats, but since nobody wants to sponsor us and nobody wants to pay for it for me, the $495 a piece for the ringside experience just is probably not going to be within my grasp unless I start hooking on the streets, and there's a lot of fat, desperate ladies in this town that want to pay some good money for some sweet loving.
Chuck,
I think you should go the opposite route, and you'll be okay. Make more money that way. Get your knee pads ready now.
Definitely not happening. No.
Go to a different part of town. They may pay you to put your clothes back on. You never know.
Well, that's what I'm really hoping for. That if I stand in there in my skivvies, some people will come by and say, hey, here's $30. Go put some underwear on, or here go buy you a hoodie or something, and maybe I can make a little money that way. But
seriously though, $495.
Is $495. That guarantees you the first 5 rows back from the ring with a commemorative seat. Now, it affords you a couple other perks, but $495. It's just like wow. And for $120, you can still be on the floor, but you may or may not be across from the cameras, so you might or might not be on television. So, yeah.
I'll take the balcony.
The balcony.
Yo, wait a minute. With this price, do you get like a little sweatshop kid that's gonna like do your laundry for you or something?
Well,
like
I'm telling
that?
you, for this price, I ought to get an escort to hold my junk for me when I go to the bathroom, but it's not going to happen.
True that.
I'm going to get a chair, and I'm going to get a thanks for coming. I probably won't even get the damn parking paid for, the damn cheap motherfuckers. But I am going to try to go. Yeah, I am going to try to go. If I can get the time off of work and, of course, all that good stuff. Because I still have to work because, like I said, nobody's going to sponsor us. Nobody wants to pay us for our awesome talent. And it's a damn shame. Johnson & Johnson or somebody. Come on, people. You want to invest in this great Doritos. We're bold.
Doritos,
we're bold. We're spicy.
That's right. Don't put a hand on my Cheetos or my Doritos. See, I done lost it for us. I said
God
Cheetos.
Dang it.
I done lost it for us.
Listen,
That's why they won't do it, Mike. That's why.
Listen.
You know what,
comedy. Leave the comedy to me and Mr. Currents over there. Okay, that's what you do.
Cheetos.
Don't quit your day job.
That was
tripping all over it.
That was horrible, Chris.
We had a day job.
We had a good thing going, and you just screwed it completely up. So that means
made the list.
Boo yourself.
Oh, hold on. I boo myself.
Yourself.
All right, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Do it.
Good.
Don't ever do it again. don't ever do it again. Go ahead anyway. We were saying about what? You say like
So-
you do what
So,
for
yeah.
spoils or how much?
Yeah. So we're going to try to go and enjoy a WWE event. You know, we went to the live show up in Wheeling not too long ago, and I've never been to a SmackDown taping, or I guess it's not taping, it's a live broadcast. Never been to a SmackDown live. I've been to a Raw. I've been to a pay-per-view. So this will be different.
The way
So
SmackDown's
there's,
going too, I mean, it's definitely the better option at the moment. Raw is just one big snore fest.
Oh God, yeah, Raw is horrible right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any shows for IWCW coming up anytime soon in your area as well, or they just moved on to Tennessee for now?
I haven't. You know, I've been so bad. I haven't even really looked. It's been sad. I really need to check in on that.
Last I heard they were going to Tennessee for some shows. I don't know if they're going to be there for a while or just like a little small tour to hit a few different cities and come back. I'm not sure which it was. I know you were trying to plan to go back to one of those soon.
Yes, I definitely do want to go back to one of those because it was a great show, and I wanted an opportunity to see him with more guys showing up because he had I think he said 5 or 10 guys cancel on him the night of the show.
Yeah, and what I told you what I saw online was pretty good. I watched one of the things they put up on Facebook. I had some problem with the video a little bit though. It kind of froze up on me a couple of times, and it went from there. It kind of jumped ahead like it was buffered or something and didn't make it all the way through. But from what I saw, it was pretty good. And our former guest Emmy Howerton was on there coming out to cause a few problems for a man up in the ring there. He was there to make wrestling great again, he said, of course. That's what he was doing. He was definitely making wrestling great again. But I didn't get to see him wrestle, though. He was just there talking. If he did wrestle later that night, I didn't get to see it because I had to leave and couldn't finish watching the show. But from what I've seen of it, though, it was some pretty good stuff. See, next time you take Dustin with you, we'll get Dustin to do the reporting. You can do the commentating from the table with Roger again, and we'll have Dustin do the report.
I don't know, man. See, they haven't called me back, and I tried to tell them I got a face for radio, but they wanted to put me on that, they're with them. So I hope the CW didn't cancel their key deal when they saw all this on the airwaves.
Well, if they did, I'm sure they will rebound greatly. They'll have to just promise not to bring you back on, I guess, and they can rebound that way.
Maybe they're
Guys,
in a mask.
Here you go. You can come into the mask. I saw this little. We had 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, but I want to tell you guys what I saw real quick. I saw this match. Somebody put up there. There's these 2 guys doing some funny commentary with it, and they're making fun of this guy. He calls himself Nature Boy Paul Lee, and Paul Lee gets ragged by so many people online that it's unbelievable. He's a Ric Flair wannabe more or less. Although he pulls out a couple other moves that Ric Flair never would try to do. But he does the chops. He does the turnbuckle flip where he runs to the other side and tries to jump off the top. He woos at them. He tries to shake their hand and pulls back and does the styling and profiling bit, They were making fun of him so bad, and they were talking about how his opponent, what was his opponent's name? Was it Rugged Johnny Garvin? Were they going to bring out Gary Windham next and see if he could fight him as well? They had a guy in his corner that looked like Downtown Bruno. But it wasn't Downtown Bruno, or Harvey Whippleman they were calling him. From
That's
WWE.
hilarious.
And if you could have just heard the commentary, I mean, I swear, man, I wish I could find. I'm gonna look for the video and I'm gonna link it to you guys so you can see what it is. Some awesome, funny stuff. But I was thinking of it earlier and I meant to say something and I forgot about it. I kind of got off topic with something else different. But anyway, look it up if you get a chance. It's some funny stuff. We're down like a minute and 30 seconds here, so I'm going to go ahead and say next weekend, of course, is going to be the Royal Rumble podcast. So we'll be on at 10:30 like normal, but we'll be talking about the outcome of the Royal Rumble, who won it, what the highlights of it were, the other matches, and report on them and everything as well, get everybody's thoughts on it. Everybody who wants to call into the show next week, let us know what you think about it. Number is 347-989-8082. Mike, where are the 2 places we can be found at online?
Miguel?
Mike has failed the test. Mike has failed the test. He has fallen asleep in class. He has
No,
failed the
technical
test.
difficulties. You cut out on me, Chris.
I am sorry, Mike. Where are the? I tell you what. Where are the 3 places we can be found online? 45 seconds, Mike. Let's hear it.
Twitter, Pornhub, and what was the other one? FaceSpace.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. Yes. Now, other than that, they can find us at Facebook at Body Slam the Competition. They can find us on Instagram at Body Slam the Competition because that's way cooler than Twitter, which sucks. Which is us also at Body Slam the Comp. Who cares? http://bodyslamthecompetition.com will take you to the YouTube page where we upload all the podcasts there, and you can watch in the video format with pictures going on side, listening to our great voices. In the meantime, next week is the Royal Rumble. Looking forward to it, guys, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Geico's been around for more than 75 years, back when they were using Morse code. Sorry, that's just my sense of humor. What's more, with Geico you get 24/7 access to licensed agents on the app, online, or over the phone, so you can talk to them at night or in the morning. So forevermore, just know that no other auto insurer has more than Geico. More power to you. Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.